we cut to the Kame Baka kingdom, um, and we see Kuma. We see Kuma like still going berserk, and then he end up disappearing, and that's all we get from Kuma this chapter. So he went somewhere. He's going somewhere. It's a matter of where where is Kuma going? Because my speculation, right? My speculation, or me and Cube kind of talked about it, because I know Cube been talking a lot about uh Dragon and the Revolutionaries going to Egghead Island. And my thought was like, you know what? That could make sense because they have Kuma there. And if anybody could get them to Egghead Island from across, from like maybe halfway across the world, if anybody could get them there like that, it would be Kuma, right? Who was on Kamibaka Island, right? So Kuma left. He left. He's not. He didn't take the Revs with him. He didn't take Dragon with him. But we don't know where Kuma went. Like, you guys have any theories on where Kuma might have went? Because he could have went to Egghead Island, but he's not there yet. But maybe it's just time differences or something. I don't know. But yeah. Joy. You want to start this one, Joy Boy?
Obvious answer is Egghead Island.
Yeah, I
and
think.
like you were saying with like the time delay, I mean, it could just take time too for him to get there, depending on how far away the Kamabaka Kingdom is from Egghead Island. And then probably my second option would be DeSavo.
That's what I was. That's what I was going to go. That's where I was going. That's where I was going to go.
You know,
But I'm glad you said
this
it.
actually, this actually has me curious on the whole on how long he could take. Because we know, actually, never mind. I'm not even gonna go off of that, but it could be interesting.
I didn't even think about it being anywhere but Egghead Island, but that's a good point. Like, well, Sabo is, but the question is, where is he? We don't know where he is, but I don't want to get wailed off from what I was saying. It seems, like I was saying, it seemed pretty obvious that it was Egghead that he was going to, or at least it made it look like it.
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever he gets there, you remember he called the Dragon Master, so that's probably alluding that he doesn't have his humanity yet. So he's probably going to go save Vegapunk and not even recognize his own daughter.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't. You know what? I mean, to me, this all depends on like how fast. Like, I'm curious, like how fast can he go? Because like if we look at like the whole him throwing Luffy to Amazon Lily, that took like 5 to 6 days, and we know that Amazon Lily 3 days.
Yeah.
3, and then we know Amazon Lily is like 1 week away by boat from 1 week away from by boat from what's that place called? Marineford. And then we know that Marineford, and we know Sabaody is right next to that place, so probably the same distance.
Yeah. I was also thinking this.
So that makes me. So if it took him that long to get Luffy to Sabaody, I'm curious on how long would it take him to get from that place to what is it called?
Egghead.
Yeah.
3 days.
No,
So
I'm curious if he would be able to get there as quick as we think.
Probably not. It's not instant teleportation, so probably not. But kind of going off of what BR said, I'm trying to remember because he made a point about what did you say? It was something you said that about his goals of like getting Vegapunk out of there. I guess that would play that could play aspect, right? Like because Vegapunk does need to get out of there. Instead of going with the Straw Hats, it would make sense where maybe um,
Yeah.
he sends Vegapunk
Okay.
to
What if they planned
hold
this?
on
What if
hold on
Vegapunk planned
hold,
this?
Br hold on. So it would make sense for Kuma to get especially with their relationship. So it would make sense for him to get him to Dragon's Island. But I think because you also said that that's the obvious place. I think it being the obvious place is why it might not be Egghead Island. I think it might be if now I don't know, because if this is going on around the same time of what we like, if this is going on in the present time, like what happened to Kuma, and this isn't say like maybe earlier, like a different time, like a little in the past, I would think he would go to Sabo, cause Sabo, like let's say he arrived at Sabo right before what happened, cause Sabo looked pretty screwed. Like from what we seen from Sabo, he looked pretty screwed, and I personally don't think Sabo is dead. I don't think he's out of this story. So I think Oda got to put some little plot device right there to save Sabo, and I think Kuma might be it. You know what I mean? I think Kuma might be that plot device to get Sabo out of there right before the island with kaput. You know what I'm saying? So I
I
I
mean,
I think that could make
I
the second most sense. You know.
I mean, I could see him going to Sabo if Sabo's on a ship, but going off the timeline we've been seeing, I don't think I think it's too late to go to that island. I think that island is already gone, especially from Lucci's word. If everything is taking place at the same time, and Lucci saying that something happened to Lucia already, it probably might have been days since Sabo's supposed death.
Yeah, but I'm saying what's going on at Kamibaka Kingdom, like what's going on with them. If that isn't, if I'm not saying it is, I'm just saying if it's at like an earlier time period than what we're going through now.
Well, it wouldn't be, um, because like that happened like right, kind of after they got back, right?
Yeah, you're
And
right.
then
You're right.
and then
Cause
after the call, because like Kuma was still being repaired.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
But I just
I'm
also had
thinking
a
if
thought
that
of
wasn't.
I just also had a thought like it like I know we were talking last week about the being the range on punk records, but
Mm-hmm.
like if there isn't a range and Kuma has already been connected to that, like if that got all updated, he would learn that like Luffy and the crew's there and that his daughter's there too.
Mhm.
And go ahead, Br. I'll let you go, King.
I'll, you do have a good point about him going to rescue Sabo, but if he went there, yeah, like I don't know if he'd have enough time to rescue Sabo, like was mentioned earlier, and he might be safe already because he was looking to the side. Well, and Sabo might have also told them what happened after because it just we just moved on to someone else.
But
Right
the
after
connection
that,
cut out.
right after Sabo.
Yeah, but when the Lelouch thing
So
happened, like the contact with Sabo stopped.
Yeah. I'm thinking like
yeah,
Could Sabo have
yeah,
phased through the destruction in his fire form? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
that's what.
could he
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that's
I
what
think
I'm.
Yeah,
But then I'm like, that's what I thought at first. But then I'm thinking like he's right. He would be right above the ocean, so he would just drown at some
well
point.
that's if all the land was destroyed, right? Like if there's like zero land for him to stay on after, going back to his normal form.
Shouldn't he be able to fly?
He should be, being
Yes,
fired, kind of
Ace.
like
Ace
Caesar.
flies. Ace can fly.
And that's what I'm saying. Long as he has some land to, because it's probably going to be like a very, like, he probably can't sustain flying in that form, right? So I'm gonna say there would be a point where if he could float or something, like he would have to land somewhere. So I'm thinking if there's some landmass available, he could phase through the like actual beam, and especially since it's not like a hockey infused beam, he could phase through it, survive, and then just like he'll probably still take some damage, maybe, I don't know, but like maybe he'll like be laying on like a rock or something, and then maybe Kuma comes to save him or something. I don't know. I don't know. But
I think that's a possibility.
you think what?
But what? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. But I think it's like, well, I mean, like if they knew it was going to happen that way, but I don't think they knew.
Who knew?
Who
Actually,
knows?
You don't think who knew?
I really
They want the
Go ahead, Br. You don't think who knew?
they want the weather together so it's possible that he saw Emu. Then he went into Kuma again. While I don't know, they were all fighting somewhere, and then he told Kuma what to do real quick, his plan, and then Sabo just went off to Lelucia.
I was
That's
gonna
the
say
way I could see it happening in that case. But
with the
also,
whole. I need a minute.
I
Go,
think that if I'm going back to Egghead, if can I go back to Egghead?
I mean, you
I
Okay.
speaking
wanted
on
to,
the point.
wanted to ask you, but
Hold on, Angel. You heard him talking,
Yeah,
man. You
doing
keep interrupting.
oh, I thought he was asking. I thought he was changing the subject, but okay.
Continue.
it still goes to Kuma, but yeah, with Kuma, if he goes to Egghead, what if he's too late? I think this was brought up earlier, but what if it's like 3 days later and no one's there? I think that's a possibility, but I don't think Oda would do that. I think he'd make it, well, I don't know, it could be like a couple days earlier or something. Well, Kuma was in a rush to go.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
don't.
I mean,
Yeah, I
to
don't
me,
know.
I think I mean, to me, like going off the whole Luffy thing. I mean, maybe he can make himself go even faster than that, but then the is if whatever that island is still in the Grand Line, is still in paradise. Is still in paradise, so it should still take him a while to get there. So he might be a few days by.
Yeah,
A few days might pass by.
yeah,
So I think he probably. I mean, going off. Maybe he's gotten better and can go even faster than I think he can. But right now, I don't think he'll be going to Egghead Island.
yeah. Yeah. Illusion could be closer, right? Cube said, let's go, Angel." Then he said, "I think
Oh
it's
yeah, I forgot to.
I think
Oh yeah, I
it's
forgot to ask him.
I think since it's a parallel to Doflamingo coming at Punk Hazard, I see Kuma being there in time since Dolphy was late. So
Last second.
so what do we so what is calling Kuma? Because I'm thinking it might be the Seraphim, possibly. Since they might have like some type of link. Um,
Yeah, it could be possible. He could see Vegapunk, his daughter, and CP0, and also Luffy
I'm trying to think
and his crew.
when exactly did uh when did okay so now I'm kind of looking at the panel, right? It was like we get that moment where Lucci tells S Bear like, okay, fly us onto the island, and then like the next page, that's when we got Kuma. So I'm thinking maybe it could have happened when Esper used his ability. And kind of like what one of you guys said about Punk Records, right? Like maybe since it's being used within Records, it's amplifying the signal to Kuma, right? Like when Esper uses his ability, maybe it amplifies the signal to Kuma. But then again, Kuma was acting weird like this before the whole situation. So it could be. I think he started acting like this when S Bear and CP0 got to the island. So I'm thinking it could be something having to do with S Bear calling, like attracting Kuma. You know, especially since S Bear and Kuma, S Bear is like a clone of Kuma, you could say. So
You know what? I think it might have been something the revolutionaries were doing because it seems like they were doing something to his body and then he just started running. Like it seems like they're doing some stuff. So
yeah,
I think it might have been them who I think they might have triggered something.
but it's like he was running towards something. You know, it's not like he just started going on a rampage or something. It's like he
I
was
know, like
trying to
yeah, I'm
go
just saying, like,
somewhere. You know.
yeah, like yeah, maybe they pressed something that they
Oh,
shouldn't have. Who knows? Because
Kuma said,
I guess
or
that's possible.
Cube said it's the S Bear reconnecting to the Punk Records network. He also said LaJoy Boy is a fraud. And then he says Kuma activated as CP0 arrives. Been saying it for weeks. Punk Records network is clearly the key. Yeah, so I think we kind of it could be Punk Records. It could be maybe like Angel said, maybe they activated something. We don't know.